CPQ ATM. Mike's going to take us through how he modified his bike, the original bike, into something that really matched his requirements and style of riding. It's an interesting little story, so I'll hand straight over to Mike.
Hiya. Yeah, we started with this bike. It was a Janus Dakar 2013. We bought it immediately just before the Transvesubienne 2013. Went and did the race. Didn't have any success on it because of many misgivings. We won't go into too much about that. But came back full of knowledge on what needed to be done. So one of the first things was to attack the bike. This here was part of the top tube and the original colour scheme on the bike. That was cut away and removed, and here we have the new top tube. It was all in Canisium aluminium. It's been done now in 6061, all done by my friends at Cove Industries in Farnborough, and then repainted the whole bike and started all afresh. And we rebuilt with all new bearings and started from the ground up, stripped the forks, stripped the cranks, and changed a lot of the mechanicals, tyres, all sorts of things, and have basically spent the rest of this year preparing for the race next week, which is again the 2014 Transvesubienne. This is Europe's worst one-day endurance race for mountain bikers. There's no one bike that will do the race how you want it. You have to have 3 bikes in one, basically. Everything is a compromise. The rider, what you carry, what you wear, the whole bike. So there's peculiar things that will be on this bike that will only be on here specifically for this one race. When we're riding in Wales and so on and so forth, we would change the bike completely. But just for this one race, this is how it's been built and tested and tested and tested, so we can get through the whole event this time, hopefully. Main purpose of the losing the top tube and the change in geometry was to have much more standover clearance, and of course to miss with our controls, which we were getting serious issues with before. These are too expensive to damage purely because they bash and catch against the top tube. It also changed the geometry. We've gone for another degree on slackness, so we are that much quicker down the hills without losing anything on the steering. We've gone for everything as light but still as strong as possible. Full carbon bars, the lightest stem we could find and shortest, with still being comfortable. As we said, everything is a compromise, so you have a combination of what's light but strong and still comfortable. Gone for the lightest seat we could find, and stem combination, again from On One, various bits from all over different manufacturers. So there's a mix and match of all the top brands. It does get quite expensive, but if you pay attention, you can select everything together and make quite a nice package. It is super lightweight for what it is. For a bike with 140mm travel, it weighs a lot less than most manufactured bikes. And that's even still with super Maxxis tyres. We're running a Minion on the front, high roller on the back, best combination you can have, and of course we've got the new 650D wheels. The American Classics have proved to be terrific wheels. They've been through the whole of the British winter without any issues whatsoever. We're running full XO on the gear changing, and we're running an XT front mech, mainly because we're running the new race face narrow wide retaining, but also we've hidden a very special little secret weapon down here, and that's my 24 tooth granny wheel. That chainring will get me up the first main hill of the Transvesubienne. It is specifically only fitted for that one hill. Once we get to the top, we will manually flip it back onto the larger ring which again is still very small in itself, and proceed hopefully with the rest of the race. That little mod in itself has gained us 350, 400 grams just losing all of the mech. Running the lightest and best brakes we can possibly fit. You can fit a lot larger, but a lot larger means a lot bigger and a lot heavier. So the lightest pedals we can afford without spending silly money. They are a nylon. They're a nuke-proof nylon, but have proved to be a real success. Their weight is only 300 grams for both pedals. So lots of little touches. You could go more, you could go with dropper seat posts, etc., but it's always a weight issue. The bike's got to be able to go uphill and downhill, and you've got to be able to carry it. So it is, like we say, 3 bikes in one is almost impossible to get the perfect bike. But we hope this year we've got as close as we can get. Also with the suspension we can lock out for the climbs. We'll be locking out front and rear. It's not as complicated as it looks whilst you're riding. You can just flick. It's 2 seconds just to flick and go. But we will be locking out the suspension for the climbs and then quickly dropping for the downs. Very critical for obtaining a pedal platform so that all the suspension will be limited to a more rigid platform for getting up the hills. And then, like I say, quick flick off and away you go down the hills. On this particular race, the downs and the ups are so long and so treacherous, you have got that time to literally stop, adjust your seat, do the climbing. Half an hour later, you'll be then doing the descending, and that will last a good half an hour as well. And by then your calf muscles and arms and everything will be pumped up and shattered. So there'll be many ups and many downs, a good 80 odd K both up and down, and carrying portage as they call it in France, but we're not keen on carrying bikes, but that's what we're going to have to do for this one.